fellow book lovers. My name's Anna and this is Bluebell and Joe. I'm a mother who is passionate about children's books. My daughter also loves books when she's not eating food off of them. So today's video is about the children's author Tim Hopgood, and as you can see, I'm a bit of a fan of his. So let's dive right in. This was the first Tim Hopgood book that I bought. It was recommended to me by a dear friend. Wow, said the owl, and it's a great one to start off with. I think it's probably one of his best ones. His illustrations are really poppy and fun, and I don't know what this style is called, but it sort of feels like it's been printed, and he's just fantastic at capturing different kind of textures and shapes and colour. So this story is about an owl who decides to stay awake in the daytime instead of sleeping. And she discovers a whole world full of colours that she never even knew existed. And this is the kind of punchline. Wow, said the owl. She couldn't believe her eyes. The sky was a warm and wonderful pink. And I like how it's subtle. It's not garish pink. So it goes through each of the different colours that this owl sees pretty much for the first time, it seems. So you see what I mean? It's got that sense of almost being like potato prints, you know. So it's quite childlike in its nature, and that's what I absolutely love about it. I was so taken with the style. Sometimes my only criticism of Tim Hopgood, there's occasions where I feel like, oh, that sentence is a bit redundant, we don't need that. But you know what? That's just a minor criticism in comparison with what I and my daughter get out of his books. So we have the wonderful green and the orange flowers and the red butterflies. And then the sky turns grey. So there's always a nice flow to his stories, even though they're quite short and basic. You always get a sense of like the beginning, the middle, something shifts, and then the end. So for a child's board book to sort of have that sense of storytelling within it, as well as the fantastic artwork, that's why I'm such a huge fan of his. And then we have the wonderful rainbow. And the owl is so impressed by all the colours she's seen during the day. But she decides that actually the nighttime is also full of beautiful colours as well, with the stars. And at the end of these board book pages, there's always some sort of mildly educational activity. So this recommends that you go through the book again and try and locate all of these different colours. So it's a really fun, easy, gentle read, really sturdy book, of course, being a board book, so your child can be throwing it about and it's all good. So I'll just quickly show you the sister book to this one, which is Wow, It's Nighttime. Now, if one was to choose between these two, I'd just go for Wow, said the owl, because you know, as charming as this one is, I mean, who needs two of a similar theme, right? Also, yes, the palette is much darker, which might not bother any of you, but you can also just pop it in your winter reads if it feels a bit like it's a bit cooler and darker in its feel. So this little owl is just going through all the different animals that they see at night time. And it's a bit of a counting book as well, so you get the one mole and the two foxes and the three rabbits. Do you see what I mean about the palette? It is sort of quite dark. I mean, obviously it's a book about nighttime, so it has to be a bit dark. So I guess the takeaway at the end of this is actually about not being scared of the dark, because the dark is full of wonderful things and wonderful creatures. And it's got a bit of a twist at the end, which is super cute, which is the tree that she's sitting on, all the leaves blow away, and the owl is surprised to see so many other owls all sharing her tree, including, by the looks of it, her own little baby as well. So it's very, very sweet. And then again, another activity at the end of the book, which is learning to count as you go through the story. So it's a really nice little detail there. But as I say, if you're going to choose between the two, I'd go for the more colourful one. Right, let's talk about What a Wonderful World. This is possibly one of my daughter's favourite books in the universe. My husband and I will always sing this rather than speak it, and I don't think it matters if you can sing or not. Children love being sung to, don't they? So go for it, even if you're getting out lots of bum notes, your children will forgive you. So it's the famous Louis Armstrong song, What a Wonderful World, and Tim Hopgood has essentially illustrated it. There's a few books like that here which I can show you. He picks the best songs out there and then pops his illustrations. This book, the feel of it is so full of hope. It feels, you can see for yourself. It's so light and full of love and friendship and joy. Bit of a casualty here. And the colours are just magnificent. I want Tim Hopgood to come to my house and decorate my child's bedroom wall because I just think he'd do a fantastic job. He's great with his use of colour. About friendship and... who doesn't love that? It's just gorgeous. So a bit of a tearjerker, I think, by the time you get to the end. One has a bit of a wobbly lip, I feel. And riding the horses there. And then ends with a bit of a sunset. So it's sort of got that vibe of world peace and love for your fellow man, which I guess is what the song's about. So yeah, spot on, Tim Hopgood. Thank you for that. So let's talk about Moon River. This is another book that he has taken a song and added his illustrations, and the illustrations are magical. So let's dive in. This one comes with a CD, and the song is sung by Andy Williams. I'll be honest, I haven't actually played the CD yet because I don't have a CD player. It is, as you'd expect, the lyrics to the song, but just look at these illustrations. So the little child is being basically, I guess, called in her dreams to the river with her rocking horsey and her teddy bear. And they go down the river. It's done so perfectly with the lyrics. Every single page is just spot on, gives you exactly what you want and then some. So it's really magical. I won't show you every page, but you get a sense of it. And she off to see the world. She travels the world, seeing all these famous landmarks. So I suppose that's actually a really good point as well. You can talk to your child about, the Colosseum here and Statue of Liberty, etc., Pisa and Easter Egg Island. So really gorgeous. This is again, I think, one of my favourites from Tim Hopgood. And another good fun one is Cyril the Lonely Cloud. Now, poor Cyril, he's unwanted and unloved by everyone. These people who are on a picnic, and what ruins the picnic? Well, it's good old Cyril who turns up and rains on them. So everywhere Cyril goes, he's met with not with love, let's put it that way. So he decides to go and leave the land, and he travels over all these different countries, and he crosses the ocean, and as he crosses the ocean he gets bigger and bigger and bigger, as you can see. So I suppose it's a good lesson in cloud formation, condensation, where rain comes from, so you can get a bit scientific. Anyway, he eventually gets to this land where the ground is baking hot, and we can obviously all guess that he's arrived in Africa. So you've got some fabulous animals here, and the colour palette has completely changed, which is great fun. And Cyril finds that his presence is so welcome, and all the animals are just in utter joy being underneath his huge shadow. So lots of smiling animals here, and eventually when Cyril cries, he cries with joy this time, and all the animals bask in this much needed rain. And one thing I think you could probably notice throughout all of Tim Hopgood's books is when he does raindrops and water, he's not afraid to go all over the place with the colour palette. He sort of turns them into rainbow drops of just pure love, joy and sunshine. Just look at that. One almost wants to frame that picture. I think there's another one of a lion. There we go. Yeah, so this is another favourite, I'd say. Right, now if we move on to a couple of the smaller board books again, this one, Tip Tap Went the Crab. This is a great fun one, set under the sea. Again, I'd say with the board book, there's just a couple of extra lines of text that one could do without. It's just not necessary. But essentially, this is about a crab who decides to leave her rock pool and go on an adventure into the sea. And she encounters all these different animals, and it's a counting book again. So you've got one seagull standing on a rock, two sleepy sea lions dozing in the sun, etc., etc. And then she plops into the deep blue sea, and it's very onomatopoeic. You know, you've got 4 funny octopuses, 5 dancing jellyfish, 6 swimming turtles, 7 fluttering seahorses. So great fun language there, awesome colours. I love the way he's done coral. Anyway, eventually the crab decides to come to a stop. Oh, I must also add, there's like Wow Said the Owl, the constant saying that you do throughout the book is tip tap went the crab, tip tap tip tap. So for your young child, they'll absolutely love that because it's repetition and it's very sing-songy. The crab also sees some sharks, so you can have an opportunity to go really quiet and whispery with your voice as the crab tip-taps silently and quietly past the sleeping sharks. So yes, she comes to a stop by a treasure chest, but decides, I'm not quite sure I want to be here, so I'm going to go home. And then it's only then you work out that she's actually been followed by all her little baby crabs, and each one has snaffed a coin from the treasure box as well, and they all follow her home. Tip tap, tippity tap. And as always, on the final page, there's a bit of a sort of educational activity, and this one is about finding the baby crabs, of which there are 10, so you have to count them like this, and also finding the gold coins as well. And it's a real feast for the eyes, again, with his artwork. So yeah, real fun one. Now, there is 2 more board books here to show you that are of a sort of similar nature. This one is perfect for spring. I did think about showing this in the spring video, which I will link down below, part 1 and part 2, but I decided actually let's just keep it all with Tim Hopgood here. So this is about Hoppy, who is a bunny rabbit, and he is looking out for signs of spring. Now, this book is actually to teach children about the senses. So Hoppy's constantly sniffing the air, seeing if it's spring, and yes, here it comes. You've got the blossoms and the birds. Hooray, said Hoppy as he heard the birds sing. It sounds like spring has sprung. So this is obviously about hearing. And then we have sniffing and smells, sniffing the pretty flowers, seeing with your eyes and looking. And then tasting the grass, so there's taste. And then feeling the warm ground beneath your feet. And then Hoppy thinks, oh, where have all my friends? And he gets to the top of the hill, there's no one there, so he bashes his feet on the ground, and here are all the rabbits. Hooray! Spring had definitely and most wonderfully sprung. So, when we get to our final page, it talks about going through the book again and thinking about where Hoppy heard, taste, or saw all these different signs of spring. So a lovely book to teach about the senses there. My daughter really enjoys it because, hey, it's bunny rabbits, so what kid doesn't love that, right? So this is not one of my daughter's favourites, and I don't think it's because it's a spider, because she quite enjoys insects, but I just don't know if maybe this is missing the mark a bit, or again, if it's too wordy. It's about a spider called Walter who's trying to spin the most perfect web, just like his friends here, but he's not quite sure how to do it. So his webs are all wibbly wobbly, and every time the wind blows, wibbly wobbly webs always blow away. And Walter lands on the ground with a splat. Anyway, so he starts to try different shapes, so you can guess this book is teaching children all about shapes. So he spins a perfect triangle, But the wind blows it away, and then he tries a square, and whoosh goes the wind, blows it away, and etc. with the shapes. So it's a lovely learning opportunity, and eventually Walter spins a circle, which is the strongest of all the shapes, but even that blows away. Then he works out what he has to do, and he decides to add all the shapes together, and he ends up spinning the most beautiful web. Look at that. And of course, no amount of wind can blow that wonderful web away, so he's done it. And then right at the end, once again, learning about the different shapes and different sides and corners, etc. So yes, it's again, it's a lovely one, but it's up to your child whether or not they take to it. And unfortunately, mine didn't. But hey ho. So another book I'd suggest isn't an essential one, but it's good fun nonetheless, and it would be perfect for an autumn or winter display if you rotate your books seasonally like I do. It's called It Was a Cold Dark Night, and it follows the story of a hedgehog, Ned, who's trying to find a place to live. And everywhere he goes, every sort of warm burrow or fun-looking hole in the ground is taken up by an animal already. So each animal tells him, no, I live here. Go on, clear off. Look next door. Go, keep searching. So he finds all these different creatures, and then an owl, and then the bats. And in the end, the bats tell him, there's a pile of leaves. Look down, Ned. And he finds his pile of leaves, and he thinks, perfect. This is where I belong. So that's Ned's home. It's very simple, and then the final page says a map of the forest. You can go on Ned's journey with him and remind yourself of all the different animals he came across and where he went and the advice he took. So I guess, it's about maybe learning about hibernation, about habitats, and a very gentle introduction to those themes, along with don't be scared of the dark because you will find your cozy home eventually. I wouldn't add this to my essential collection, but it's a nice addition nonetheless, and probably aimed at a slightly younger child as well. So I have one more book to show you, and that is Singing in the Rain. So once again, this contains a CD, and it's Doris Day singing, and it's obviously based on the song Singing in the Rain, pictures by Tim Hopgood, of course. So for me, I feel like I get so much out of Cyril the Lonely Cloud and Moon River that this would be in addition, but it is great fun. And it follows the story of a few children, and they're basically just having a big old jazzy fun time in the rain. They go on this sort of fantastical journey out of the city and into, here we go, almost like a sort of Mary Poppins moment, into the jungle. And here we go, Tim's, I say Tim as if he's my mate. Hey Tim, please be my friend. Anyway, they go to the jungle, and that's an opportunity for the artwork to turn super colourful, which is, I think, what Tim Hopgood does best. So there's not a lot more to say about it really, other than that's it. It's just a bunch of children hanging out, getting wet and having a great old time. So I guess the takeaway is, don't be afraid of the rain. Let's go out and have fun and jump up and down in those puddles, because rain is awesome, right? That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to purchase any of the books mentioned here, check out the list and the links below. I do receive a small commission for any items purchased, which really supports my channel and helps me bring you more content. So thank you, and see you soon.